Good afternoon, everyone. This is Evelyn Mantilla from Access Health Connecticut. Thank you so much for joining us. I see that we have a number of participants, our great partners in the community. And what I want to do first, before we get to the meat of our conversation today, is I want to make sure that we know who is joining us today. And those of you who are joining by computer, I can actually see your name, so I appreciate that. I do have one person who is on the call by phone, and if I tell you the number, would you mind identifying yourself? It's 203-659-0600. Who's on that call? I just unmuted you, so I should be able to hear you. The person on 203-853-0600.
Yep, that's Irene Sakitas, Triangle Community Center.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Irene. Terrific. And besides that, I see that we have John Picas-Needon, our friend from the LGBTQ Chamber of Commerce.
Hi.
Hi, John.
How are you?
Good, good. Thank you. Wonderful to have you. I see that we have from the Phillips Health Ministry. I'm hoping this is Angela Harris. Hi, Angela. Do I have you on? Oh, hang on. I have to unmute everyone.
Yes, this is Angela.
Oh, terrific. Thank you, Angela. Welcome. Thank you so much. I also see Yvette Marie, who is with us, and I'm trying to, yeah, you are unmuted. Yvette, you're on the line?
Yes.
Great. And we already know, I also see Irene, but Irene, you already identified yourself, so terrific. All right, well, let's get started. We're very conscious of everyone's time, and we have to start these calls first and foremost by always saying thank you for taking the time to care about this. Today's call, this meeting is really the first time. Most of you participated with us in meetings before. As we've educated people, you know that Access Health Connecticut created a list of the communities that we know that we need to reach into in a more effective way. And we've called upon you to give us ideas, recommendations along the way. And this is actually the first time. The groups that we are targeting are as follows: Latino, African American, Polish, LGBTQ, young adults, and AAPI, the Asian American Pacific Islander group as well. So with that in mind, I wanted to let you know today's meeting is the first time that we all speak together, not just in the separate groups within the target populations, okay? So let's get started with some information that we want to share with you. And then I want to make sure that you know that we are inviting a real conversation after the first part of our presentation, so that we can look at more at the immediate steps that we want to be able to take together. So with that in mind, I'm happy to introduce you. You've already heard her name, Kelly Kennedy. Kelly Kennedy is the manager of outreach within Access Health Connecticut. And she has some important information about open enrollment that she's going to present. And then when she's finished, I will come right back. So we have today's agenda. We're going to give you an update on InPerson Help for open enrollment, and Kelly is going to provide that for us. Number two, we're going to discuss how we can work to connect people to the help they need to enroll between now and December 15th. So this is what I mean by the shorter term. And then we also have a wonderful presentation on social media tip. It's called the Social Media Tip Exchange, which will be presented by our friend Heidi, who is the social media guru here at Access Health Connecticut. And then we'll close it with questions. My goal is to finish everything within an hour, so just so everyone is aware. All right, Kelly, let me hand it right over to you and start here.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for making yourself available today. I hope the call works for everyone. I didn't think anybody would mind getting some extra time back into their schedule. So since we had a small group, we opted to do this online, and we'll record the webinar today too, so people who weren't able to join us can keep up. So when we met with you last month virtually and during the summer in person at lunch, we were talking about open enrollment as, you know, sometime in the future, and here we are. So we are now in the midst of open enrollment. It started November 1st and runs through December 15th. So we've got 6 weeks this year. For us, it's the shortest open enrollment period. But we are up to the task. So that's point number one. If you're not enrolling people every day, as most of you I think are not, we're just going to give you the high level details. If you are enrolling people, this is going to be some fundamental information for you. But just as an overview, we want you to know that what we've done to get ready for open enrollment this year is a few things. We've updated our Compare Plans tool, and that's a really extremely useful, essential tool for consumers and your members and clients to compare their plan options. So we want to draw your attention to that. We've redecorated our homepage and given it a little facelift and made information easier to get to, and we have a new verification tool coming that we expect to make life easier for people who need to verify documents. So that'll be available. We can share more information with you in a few weeks when that is fully ready. So why should you tell your consumers and members and clients about Access Health, and why should they care? It's because we are the only place that people who qualify for financial help can get it for health insurance coverage. So not everyone qualifies. If you didn't know already, there's a 400% of poverty level ceiling on who can qualify for financial help. So it's 4 times the federal policy level, federal poverty level. And for single individuals, that's about 48,000. So people who make 48,000 or less a year can qualify for some financial help. And just as a frame of reference, for a family of 4, you would need to make around $100,000 or less to qualify for financial help. And about 70% of our consumers do qualify for financial help. Why else come to Access Health Connecticut? Because we have really robust plans, and they offer the 10 essential health benefits that the Affordable Care Act provides for. And what does that really mean? That really means that there are 17 qualified health plans to choose from through our exchange, and they are offered by Anthem and Connecticut. So people have a lot of choices. You want to make sure you know right where to go. Here's where you can find that compare tool. So you go to our homepage, accesshealthct.com, and follow that. The arrow is mine for presentation purposes now, but look for the Compare Plans button, and it'll take you through a dialogue asking you or whoever's filling out the information some really important information about the size of your household, income, some basic medical information like who are your providers that you want to make sure are covered on your plan, what drugs are covered by your plan, and whether you expect to have any hospitalizations. And so this compare tool is really going to help guide you through the most important decision points and then help narrow down the choices for you. Okay, we've got a robust in-person help program going as well. So there are 7 enrollment locations around the state where people can walk in, no appointment needed, and get in-person help for free through our certified enrollers. Those locations are in Danbury, East Hartford, West Hartford, New Britain, Groton, New Haven, and Stamford. And the hours vary, but that information is all available on our website at learnaccesshelpct.com/locations. In addition, we have a total of 6 enrollment fairs. We held our first already in Fairfield. They are on Saturdays from 10 to 2 at different locations around the state, and they are laid out for you there. They're every Saturday except for Thanksgiving weekend between now and the end of open enrollment. So Manchester, New London, Bridgeport, Waterbury, Milford, we're finding that people will come from just about anywhere around the state if a fair fits their schedule. We strongly recommend that people register or RSVP for those fairs, so we are prepared and staffed accordingly to handle the traffic flow. And you can direct folks to the same link, learn.accesshelpct.com/locations, for a link to RSVP for an enrollment fair. More ways to get in-person help. We have Enrollment Specialists, also known as CACs, Certified Application Counselors, and brokers. People can get help through a live chat function and, of course, through the call center. And these are 2 separate screenshots that we're looking at here. The live chat button is to the top right corner of the homepage. And boy, I can't even see it myself. The Get Help page is the 3rd tab in, following that arrow. And the next screenshot below, where it says "We're here to help," that's what you see when you get to when you click on Get Help. And there are different options here. So to find an enrollment specialist, you click on the Enrollment Specialist button. And I think the next screenshot is going to show us what you see. So this is where people can enter their zip code, and within a radius of however many miles as they choose, they can find a list of certified application counselors or brokers by selecting one of the radial buttons below. And when they press submit, they'll get a list of everybody. Whether they selected brokers, they'll get a list of brokers in their area, or CACs. So that is working very nicely right now. Okay. Yeah,
great.
we'll see. Do you want to take any quick questions now?
Sure, absolutely. I have, just so that everyone knows, I have you all unmuted. So if you have any questions right now about the first part of today's agenda, this is a good time to ask it. We want to make sure that you have the detailed information that you're able to guide your consumers, your clients to, so that they can get the in-person assistance that they help. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask it.
This is John from CTGLC.
Hi, John.
Hi. Do you have anything, what we just saw, in a link that I can send out to my membership that explains the various places of where they can go? I think that would be very helpful. If I could send it out with my constant contact, even have links that I could put on my social media, because it'll reach about, well, not counting the people outside of Connecticut, about 4,000 people.
That's great.
Awesome.
So if somebody can send me in an email, you know, a link, and I say link because it's just easier to post on social media, a link, than having all of the, you know, a PowerPoint presentation. And the same thing with a link for the constant contact. Because
Absolutely.
I find with my membership, they'll do a brief click on their email, see that it's from the CTGLC, and then if it's something that they're interested in, they won't read it right there and then. You know, they might click on it, see it, realize what it is, and then go back maybe when they're not at work.
That's a great point. We're more than happy, and we'll do the same thing for everyone. You're absolutely right. We can send you an email with the actual link. We can point you to the search. We can give you the link directly to the search function so people can search for assistance on their own.
Yes.
And also, I think that we can give you a link to a brochure that we have online, that we also have in print, but we have it online posted on, that actually is a very simple brochure. It doesn't have details on how to enroll, but it tells you where you can go, where you can get the exact assistance that you need, so that consumers, and we're definitely finding that they benefit a great deal from being able to sit down with someone who walks them through the progress. So that's a great point. And John, you have our promise you'll receive that very shortly.
Okay, thank you. It's funny because I myself have to renew, and
great.
And I kind of fired my agent because he screwed up at the beginning of the year. And hold on just a second. I'm sorry.
That's quite all right.
Nan, let me call you back. I'm with Access Health right now. Okay, bye. And so I was going through the process myself in talking with Joy over at Access Health, and I found it a little more, I'll be honest with you, I'm not computer savvy. I'm of the senior end of my life.
Yeah, that's quite all right.
And but I don't want to go back to that agent. And so I was going to look for another agent. And then I thought, well, let me see if I could do this on my own. So I started doing it on my own, and it just got a little too complicated for me with words that I don't understand. So this really helped me today personally, because now I saw that there was a place in East Hartford. And so I live in East Windsor. And so I'm going to call them and make an appointment down there, and my husband and I will go down there and renew. And go through some of the Joy was explaining to me, a woman that works at Access Health, and that there are different plans. So I want to look at that too. I want to look at the different plans, because when we signed up, there was one plan that we could get. Now I'm excited that there's other plans that we can get. Whether it's going to be more expensive or less expensive for us, that's okay.
Well, John, you're touching on a point that we think is very important, particularly this year. In our messaging, everywhere we go and everyone we talk to, we're urging consumers to shop and compare the plans. And now that you know that we have that many available for this year, hopefully that those tools will be really helpful to easily understand and make a good choice. Kelly, did you have something you wanted to add?
Hi, John, it's Kelly.
Hi, Kelly.
Hi, I will work with Heidi, who you'll meet in a few minutes, but we'll put a draft together, make sure it covers all the material, all the touch points that you want to cover, and then we'll share it with everybody for you all to send out to your distribution.
Thank you, Kelly.
Wonderful. I have a couple of comments that are coming in through the chat box. This is great because we want to hear from you. I think that from Phillips Health Ministry, Angela Harris is asking us to make sure that while sending links, please send a link to the brochure of the documents applicants should bring to expedite enrollment. Absolutely. We'll make a note of that and include that as well. Great point. Also, we have Yvette. Yvette is asking us through the chat box, says, I have clients coming in and out. So it's not a question. Excuse me when I mute myself here and there. Not a problem. Thank you so much, Yvette. All right, any other questions on the first part of our presentation?
What you asking for?
Very good. So hearing none, let me see how I can do in facilitating what we really want to be one of the more robust parts of our conversation today. Now that we are in open enrollment, first thing I want to say is Access Health Connecticut for several years now has had a program of outreach that moves year round. And so we try to be out in the community year round. Obviously, though, once we're within open enrollment, everything picks up, everything is more intense, and we're looking to serve all of the consumers that deserve our help. And so that is part of why we designed this program, that we are having conversations with you so that we can also come up with actionable steps. And now I would like to have, all of you think about, is there an actionable step in the short term from now until December 15th that you feel that either yourself and your organization or anyone else who's involved in our partnership this way can take to get the word to the consumer and to guide people to where they can get help? So I'm hoping I made that question fairly clear. And let me just open up the floor a little bit for some ideas. And I really do ask that we think of it as the short term, and that we think of things that are actionable right now, that you feel that with as little effort as possible, but as much effectiveness as possible we can do. So let me open up the floor. Does anyone have an idea of what you wish you could do, for example, that we can support to be able to get to your clients and your consumers?
This is John again.
Mm-hmm.
I talk too much. The thing that I hear a lot from my membership is that whenever we send anything out via an email blast or even as social media, that I've learned over the years in taking various little workshops, is short and sweet and to the point. And because for some reason people, like I said earlier, people will not sit and read this enormous email or document. They want it right to the point. So if you're going to put something together, again, this is just the way I would interpret when I would read an email, is that, okay, open enrollment is between November 7th and December 15th. If you're looking for insurance, we have many multiple plans. Access Health is here to help. Key words that get, I'm also an ad guy in marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And so these are the things that people will click on, will look. I just did an expo last night, and I said to the secretary, put on the top of the emails extra. Then the next email put, new alert, expo coming. This is what people will look for. So if you have this window of November 7th to December 15th, and you want to be able to reach as many people as you can in that time frame, it's really to keep it short and sweet, to get them to read the brochure, to go online and to do that. I find that unfortunately people, their lives are so complex these days, and they really feel this overwhelming situation of, oh my God, I have to look for, I'm including myself in this.
Sure.
Because I immediately panic now from November, 1st to December 15th. Okay, I got to get insurance. Okay, I can't do it now because I have to do this. I have to do that. I have to get this done. So it's really to make it a little easier for people to understand that they can call somebody, or they can go online, or they can really, in just a few words, say, it's not as complicated as you think it is.
Right, exactly. Great. I think that's really good guidance, John. Thank you. We really appreciate it. Let me open up the floor for any other ideas that you think your organization could partner with us with. And actually, let me take a moment and offer, one of the thoughts that we've had to continue to kick forward the conversation. But as you have probably heard us because you're partners with Access Health. And so you've seen a lot of our communications. You've probably seen us ask you as community organizations and community leaders, we're constantly asking, are there events that you think we should attend? Do you have organized events that we can come to and present or table, provide information, guide people, things like that? And at this point, we have had a lot of success that way, but we would also love to know, specifically because you all represent the communities that are such high priority, is the idea of, could you envision the possibility of us creating an event, a joint event that Access Health could, with a small budget, cover and things like that, that you feel we could have your clients come to in order to get more information, have us present, or in creative ways. I'm not really sure exactly how we would make them look, but ideas like, I have a wonderful idea here in front of me that says, what about having a social? Would there be a possibility, let's say, if Access Health is able to select a location that's convenient for your clients, and we provide some enticing food for people to attend, would you be able to include, invite your clients? So that's one of the ideas. Anyways, I've spoken enough. Let me open it up to you. What else do you think we should do?
Hi, this is Marie from GBAP.
Hi, Marie.
And hi, I think that here our concern is trying to reach the youth. We work with kids 16 to 21, and specifically we work with kids who are homeless. So it's kind of hard trying to reach out to them, even the kids, because we still try to reach out to the kids who are not in the program that we know are homeless. And, a lot of them don't have phones. A lot of them don't have access to computers. So the task that we have that's kind of difficult is just trying to reach out to them and, get them as much information as possible. I know that now our director is working on another type of program that's going to be mobile. But until then, I think that's the only thing that we're kind of having a hard time with.
That makes a lot of sense. And, I'm assuming because it's difficult to reach these young folks, young adults, that, many of them are going without the state coverage that they should be covered by. Am I right?
Correct. So we just want to kind of provide that opportunity, even if it's just us going in our own company van, is trying to provide that opportunity just to get kids to just get signed up, even if we can't totally get them housing, as long as we get them insurance and get them the health care benefits that we know that they need. So that's kind of our goal by the end of December.
Great. And so you're talking about you have the ability to do some mobile programming. In other words, you mentioned your van, for example, to go to where your clients are or where the homeless youth are. Yes. Get them to the place where they can get the direct help. Yes. Oh, great. I think, perhaps we can, speak individually too and come up with a way to partner.
That would be great.
Yeah, so that Access Health Connecticut can both participate but also enhance it in any way that we can.
Okay, that would be great.
Terrific. Oh, thank you, Marie.
You're welcome.
All right, any other thoughts from some of the other organizations on things that we want to make sure that we do? And, I'm looking at the chat. Yes, here's an important piece from, thank you again, Phillips Health Ministry. The request that we post hours of operation on the Access Health Connecticut website search result for InPerson Help. I think we're going to make note of that suggestion. And Kelly, I'm assuming that will require the involvement of the programming staff, right? I'm not familiar with the.
I am not sure either whether it's like a Google search functionality, something that we put in search engine optimization. We'll look into that. I think,
But definitely, yes.
Angela, I think if I understand correctly, what you would like to happen is, say somebody types in, they go to Google and they type in Access Health CT, and when the search results come up as they do, like if I'm looking for something on Google Maps, it'll give me the hours, the about, the website link. You want it right there when they're doing search.
No, so I explained if you did a query, like via a SurveyMonkey, to your ACs and your brokers, and the hours they work, so that you don't have to actually call each individual site. So you go to your search field in Access Health and you put in your zip code and that you need in-person help. And, you know, a bunch of names come back. But if I'm specifically looking for somebody on the evening, I'd have to call each one of them to find out what their hours are.
Thank you. That's so much different.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I appreciate that clarification as well. Okay.
All right.
No, that makes a lot of sense. So you're not able to say, okay, this is the broker that's closest to me. So I'd like to go with them, because you don't know right off the bat if they have hours that will work for you. And so it would cost you to have to go down the line and check them all out. I understand the question now. Very good.
Once you got the information from the CACs and brokers, right? And you know, okay, each one of them have these hours, and you populate the website. Another thing you could do is actually put in on the search field, if I'm specifically looking for someone available on a Saturday morning. All across the state, those people could pop up. And if I choose in my car, I could go to wherever if they're not offered in my town.
Smart. Okay. Smart. Okay. We'll take that back.
Yep.
That's terrific. Thank you. Thank you. All right. All right. Any other points on what else we can, work together in partnership? I see some of your ideas, and we're definitely going to follow up on every one of them, each one of them individually, so we can make them reality and do it in the short term. All right. If we don't have any more of this part of the conversation, I really want you to. This is a subject that has, as we've queried, as we've asked our partners across the state, we've gotten a lot of feedback and interest in helping us get the word out effectively through social media. And so we know that our partners some are heavily involved in social media, some are lesser involved, and some are not involved at all. So I'm really proud to have Heidi with us today, who is the social media manager. I call her the social media guru because Access Health has a very robust, active social media presence. And I credit Heidi for that. So with that, Heidi, welcome.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I appreciate Evelyn's confidence in me. However, as most of you know, social media is an ever-changing landscape, and there's so much that we don't know, so much coming on that is yet to be seen. And so every day I'm learning more, and I'll happily accept the guru title, but I'm sure it's an evolution. So it's ongoing. And to that end, I'm going to just basically provide an overview of how we operate and how we can operate together, because I'm going to assume everybody on the call is familiar with social media to a very comfortable extent, if not even more so. But I would also see this as kind of like just dipping our toes in for now, and then maybe at a later date provide a more robust overview. So for now, this will be an overview and tip exchange. So basically when, and I've been in the position for 6 months. So, but no matter what industry you are in when it comes to social media, the end user is always the customer. And when you're creating your content, you have to always keep them in mind, obviously. Can't just be pushing your own message just to speak, not talking into the wind. We are creating things for the customer. So when we create the content, we got to ask, why should they care? What's in it for them? That's anybody. That's human nature. What is it that you're telling me is important to me? How am I going to benefit from the information you're giving me? And that's first and foremost. So when you put your content through that filter, you are creating content that's very useful. So, but in addition, it's not even enough just to have the content. It also needs to be timely and accurate, just like it's listed on the slide. It's not just enough to have the information. It's also good to have the information ahead of time if needed. It's also good to have it at the right time, and preferably not after the fact. Although there's a lot of communication that can be useful after the fact. So it's just a matter of seeing your calendar and plotting your messages accordingly. And of course, it's not just enough to speak to the customer, because you have to pass it through another filter, which is making sure that your content is aligned with your organizational goals. So it's make sure that your message is reflective of your mission, of your values, of what it is that your organization has been created for, to answer a need in the community. And also make sure that it is consistent with your overall communication plan. You plan this all year long, and this is something that we kind of like start looking at this time of the year to look at for the following year. Just make sure that everything that you're doing meets all of those goals as you go along. So basically what we do here, this is true in any industry and any organization. There are some no-nos that we need to avoid, and there are some jargon and acronyms that we use a lot. So right now we'll look at the words that we at Access Health Connecticut preferably avoid. So when it comes to talking about the marketplace or the ACA, I'm sure a lot of people still look at us like, what are you talking about? And I know we could readily calm any doubts and tell them, oh, Obamacare. And they'd say, oh yeah. But we're trying to sway away from that. We use it mostly in Spanish language because that's more readily understood in Spanish language, but it's also being phased out. So slowly but surely, it's being understood as the ACA. We also like to avoid words like subsidy or free or discount. True that Access Health CT is the only place where you can come to for financial help. However, that's how we like to position it: financial help, not as a subsidy, not as free, not as discounted. So, you know, this is a valuable service, a vital service that is being provided. And we don't want to treat it like it has a price tag. We'd like to treat it as the value that it holds. And lastly, we don't refer to ourselves as insurance carrier or our plans as insurance carriers. We just we refer to them as insurance companies or insurance partners in some cases, but mostly we use them as insurance companies. So a lot of you have met with me so far, and I've had the privilege of recording some of you to get your happy words about Access Health CT And that is known as endorsements and testimonials. And we all can benefit from that. I mean, there's a whole industry based, I mean, that is how we're driven now. Yelp and, you know, other such reviews. I don't make any decision without consulting with reviews. So these testimonials go a very long way. And we can't express how valuable they are. But they have to be very honest. And we can't, yeah, it'd be great to put a script in front of somebody and say, hey, say this about us. But it's better when the viewer sees it as coming over as genuine. So that's what I strive to get mostly when I speak to you or speak to other customers in the field. Look for genuine, honest, and authentic opinions about Access Health, obviously skewing towards the positive. We are handling the negative, of course, there's always going to be negative. And of course, also when I speak to experts, or what we call them here, subject matter experts, SMEs, SMEs, we have to make sure that they are actually considered an expert in the field. And it's just not someone that we plucked off and said, hey, you're going to be the expert that we need right now. It's always going to be someone that has some credentials behind their title, their name, and that the customer or the viewer will accept and rely on. And also, in our many public events, we all get photo releases or what we call a standard release to use their name or photograph or likeness in any of our publications. And I've done that with all of you. It doesn't have to be a formal document. We have our iPad in some cases, and I carry forms around. But even just a video recording of, hey, you are okay to use my name and likeness in your media. So I'm just going to quickly go over the social media platforms. You guys know all about it, but not to belabor it. You guys probably can tell me more than I know. But let me tell you how we use our Facebook and other platforms. So basically, we use our Facebook page for advertising, to not to put too light of a spin on it. We're promoting what we do. We are promoting our information. We're promoting all of our campaigns and upcoming events. It is our #1 platform because normally, with everybody, that is where you have the most followers. Currently, we have more than 40,000 followers, so it's a big reach. So what we see when it comes to Facebook is less is more. Don't be too wordy. Don't have a lot of written content on the page because you're going to lose people pretty fast. They try to summarize everything so that it's front loaded, and the information, the most important information you want to get out is at the beginning. We also use a lot of click-throughs so that we have links that customers can get to, and we also want to track them. So usually our URLs are really long, and some people are on their mobile devices, and it's easier for them to just click on the link and it hyperlinks them over to the destination that we want them to get to. But the added benefit of using something like a URL shortener, like Bitly, and for instance, there's other ones like Owly and other ones that I can't remember right now, but those are trackable. They show us specifically, like if I want to create a post that I want to track the traffic that generates clicks, I will use Bitly, and it will follow the data as far as who is clicking out of our posts onto the link that we've provided. And lastly, we create a lot of short videos. I'm sure you've seen me in a lot of them, but short is better as well. Just like short text is better, short videos are better. The average I've seen is 15 seconds of view, and that's on the high end. Usually it's more like 3 seconds. So we just like to at least front load that information as well, but make it also very dynamic, just a lot of visuals, a lot of text if possible. The more the better when it comes to the information on the screen, but still try to make it short, if you can accomplish that. So Twitter is the definition of less is more. We try to, well, obviously Twitter has a limit, which has been recently increased and doubled to 280. We try not to go that long. We definitely try not to go that long because, again, people are only going to read the first couple of lines. What we tend to favor are visuals and links just to get the job done. And again, this is where Bitly will come in very handy. Another very important traffic driver are hashtags. I can't express enough how hashtags will get your post viewed more readily than anything. I tend to use hashtags that are trending or popular. Of course, you can create your own hashtags that are relevant to your goals, but it's very important to tie into what is actually trending out there because people actually click on these hashtags and they'll see multiple posts, and it'd be so great if your post were one of them in some place that they wouldn't even expect to see it. So something like Monday motivation I do sometimes, or I'll look, if you go on your homepage of Twitter and you go onto the left-hand side, you'll see what's actually trending. And once in a while, jump on one of those. If it's relevant to your content, create content that can include that hashtag and you'll get a lot of traffic that day. So Instagram, I call Instagram pretty pictures. Basically, you want to have very dynamic, very kind of artsy pictures. That's what really resonates with customers here. I've seen in some cases like NBCCT, they have a takeover where basically they hand over their account to somebody like a photographer, a local Connecticut photographer, and they have beautiful posts related to scenery in Connecticut. We don't have to always do that, and it's not always going to be aligned with our goals, but it's something to keep in mind because this is the platform for that. Another thing that I use I use a lot more, in fact, here than I do on Twitter are the hashtags. And Instagram has a very helpful follow hashtag tool. And Instagram also shows you when you type a hashtag, it shows you which ones have the most followers. So it's not enough to just create one out of the blue. When you start typing, it'll pull up the most recently used and highly trafficked hashtags. And to include those in your post is very, very valuable. LinkedIn, so everyone should be familiar with LinkedIn from a personal perspective, but I like to treat LinkedIn just like I would Facebook. So in a sense, it's professional Facebook whereby we are promoting our own resume. So we are connecting business to business, consumer to consumer, but I use that as a platform to publicize our press releases, our media mentions, our events. So much like you would want to professionally put a picture of yourself out there, that's what I use LinkedIn for. And it's following and following back on LinkedIn is not unlike the way you would use your personal LinkedIn. You can do it the same way as you do on your own account. And it's extremely valuable because, again, you're just putting out your credentials and your resume to the public. And it's more newsy. That's the way I like to treat it, and informational. And that's why I could call it the professional Facebook. For the more warm fuzzies, we go to Facebook. But LinkedIn is where we're going to be crisp and clean. YouTube, we have, everyone should be familiar, hopefully, with our Access Health CT YouTube channel. We upload all of our collateral on there. So any PSAs we've created, any commercials, any informational videos are linked on there. And then I go and promote them across our other channels. It's very helpful when you want to post a video and knowing that there's a short attention span to link to the YouTube video, merely just provide a short snippet of the video and link to the longer video on YouTube is a lot more helpful because, again, keeping in mind the shorter attention span, knowing that the fuller video is on YouTube and it's there for prosperity, It's going to be there forever. And you will always have a connection from your post to YouTube so that people will always know where to go to find not only the video that you're linking to, but the other ones that are longer in length. And there's also a subscribe button that consumers will also get updates as far as your newer videos that have been posted. And you can also cross-link across to Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter saying, hey, I've uploaded a new video. Very helpful to do a lot of cross-promotion. So I'm just going to present a couple of helpful tools. Again, not going to pretend to know everything, not at all. I'm sure you guys can give me a lot more than I have here. But these are the ones I find the most helpful. For example, HootSuite. Just like you guys, I'm not always tethered to my desk. And there's, you're going to be away, you're going to be in the field, and you've got to put out a message. You got to put out a post, on Friday. And here it is Wednesday. And you're like, I'm not going to be there Friday. So you can create it on Wednesday, and you can schedule these posts way out in advance. Also, they provide very robust reporting tools that I cannot express how helpful they are. CrowdBabble is a new tool that I started using recently. One thing that I found very helpful about CrowdBabble is not only their data analytics, but they show you in your audience which people are the most engaged, and out of the ones that are most engaged have the most followers. Because it's not enough quantity. It's also good to get quality, because if you've got someone following you that has a lot of followers or is very influential, they're going to be an advertising engine for you. So it's very, very useful to have as far as public relations. So this vehicle gives a lot of information towards that. Bitly I've described before. It shortens your URLs, and it also tracks the traffic that is being derived from these shortened URLs. Very good for Twitter because you can't have long URLs, but the data tracking is so vital. Canva, so if we go back to what I said before about Instagram, so pretty pictures. You want to make pretty pictures that are branded. You can create them here on Canva. So user-friendly. You don't have to know Photoshop. You don't have to know Adobe or anything like that. This is your Adobe stand-in. Basically, you can upload your pictures, your logo, your brand colors to the exact number, and you can create tons of collateral that you can use and edit as you need. I use it every day, and extremely valuable. So I'm just going to share a couple final tips before we close out. These are our more regularly used hashtags, more so now with open enrollment than ever. So I would encourage, if ever you are creating content of your own, sharing content of ours, try to use these as much as possible. We use them every post. There's always a hashtag, and it's always going to be one of these. Asegúrate CT, I should say, is the Spanish equivalent of get covered CT. It's very important to note that your hashtags, if you're speaking to a certain audience, they should also be translated as well. Just further down the list, AHCT BOD meeting is something that I use when we're at the board of director meeting, and that's every fourth Thursday of the month. So we get a lot of traffic when it comes to board meetings. But if you have something in your world that you attend regularly, create a hashtag whereby followers can see the content that you're posting and have one place to see all those tweets with this hashtag. And just towards the end here, I'm showing you the assets pertaining to our now running commercials And these have been tested and tried through focus groups. And you should be seeing already on your TV screens or the sponsored ads on social media. These ads where you see our famous sunburst, kind of showing consumers that Access Health is here to help you in the times that you need it and keep you healthy and safe. On the lower right, you will see our very own Andrea Ravitz, and a wonderful actor that we got for our Spanish language commercials. This type of commercial tested really well with the Hispanic community because they like the idea of customer service. And you should be seeing these now on your social media and television. And these are just images that if ever you need and you wanted to create some content that is relevant to Access Health and do some sort of like partnership posts, I can share these with you, but these are our approved 2018, 2019 images. Very diverse, very warm and fuzzy. Like we care about what you care about. This is just married, you're growing your family, you're graduating, you're moving. We've covered every angle in these images and we're happy to share those with you. So I've gone over, but if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them. And if you have any tips to share, even more so, please share.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much, Heidi. So we are coming to the end of the webinar. I don't want to take up too much of people's time, but if we want to take a minute or two for any conversation on social media, please let us know now. All right, so hearing none, I'm going to move on to closing our conversation tonight by the last part of our agenda. We want to talk about action steps. And in fact, we have already been speaking of action steps. And one of the things that we want to make sure everyone knows is that we do have literature in multiple languages that has been, most of these have just been finished. They're ready for publication. We have them in English, Spanish, Arabic, Brazilian, Portuguese, Chinese, Italian, Korean, Polish, and Vietnamese. And those languages were selected by looking basically at the most frequently spoken languages, in the state of Connecticut. So, Kelly, welcome back.
Hello. I just moved from one chair to another.
And we're also adding Tagalog. That's the way you pronounce
yes.
it.
Okay.
Yes. And we apologize. This list has should have one more, and it's Tagalog, which is the language spoken in the Philippines. And so we're working very hard to get these materials out. If any of you are interested in receiving these, either electronically or in print form, please, please, please let us know. All right. The other action steps that we want to continue to ask you for is, you just heard some of those tips on social media. First and foremost, follow us and then share us. So yeah, retweet, share Facebook posts, and share, in the other social media channels as well. And we, in return, for those of you who are on social media, we will follow you as well and look for opportunities. If you create your own content, we'll be looking for it so that we can also repost it as well. What else? We want to continue to assure you that we have media and advertising is in progress, as we reported back in October. This year, Access Health has made a concerted effort to be present in media for the minority communities and the communities of priority, as we have here, to get the word out, and those have proven to be very worthwhile investments. So let me ask you, just before we close, is there anything else that you can think of that would be effective that we can be doing in partnership with you as our partner organizations? All right. If no one has any, that's not a problem. Particularly because I can promise you, we don't want to burden you with like too many contacts and too much information. But now that we have shared what Access Health Connecticut is looking to do, what we can hopefully do for you, and what we can do in partnership, you will be hearing from us directly on a one-on-one basis to, for example, if you feel that we can create an event together that would give us access to the community that you represent, we'll talk about that individually and we'll see how we can make it a reality. And some of the other ideas that we've talked about as well, we will give follow-up to every one of those. All right, so I think we've come to the end of today's conversation. Let me just say again, I really appreciate your time. Access Health Connecticut is very happy that you are willing to take the time to continue the conversation with us. And now we're looking to take the next step further with you as our partners and follow through on actionable steps that will continue to help us reach the communities that you represent. So always, always thank you for your time. Thank you for your ideas and your willingness to be part of this conversation. All right, and with that, I'll let Kelly give us a nice goodbye.
Yeah, goodbye. And thank you for everything that you do on our behalf. We recognize that you are our allies as much as we are yours, and we couldn't reach these consumers without you. So thank you so much for everything that you do. On this final page, you have my contact information. You are more than welcome to contact me directly. That's my direct line, the 6843 extension, my direct email, and the general outreach email box is there as well. So I've taken lots of notes. We've gotten new ideas ourselves, which we were whispering about. Maybe you heard us in the background. So we will follow up, and thank you for all your good suggestions. Be in touch.
All right. Perfect. And Heidi, thank you so much. That was really interesting.
Thank you.
So it's great to have you part of this team. All right. Thank you. With that, I will close today's meeting. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.